you to imagine something. I want you to imagine that you're out at the ocean and the water feels great. You're swimming, you're having a great time. And then all of a sudden, without warning, you're caught in an undertow. And you don't know it. You're tumbling around. You're under the water. You're trying to figure out which way is up. Finally, you pop up and you're trying to figure out where you are. And you're fighting to keep your head above water. You're kicking, you're paddling, and you realize, I am really far from the shore. You're using all your energy just to stay afloat when you see something that looks like a life jacket. You grab it, immediately put it on, and then you realize this life jacket is not a life jacket. It's a weighted vest, and it's actually pulling you down. But you can't take it off because you need your hands to keep paddling to keep your head above water. Luckily, this piece of driftwood floats by, and you grab onto it, and it's helping, but barely. The problem that it's now causing is that no matter what you do, it's taking you further and further out. This piece of wood is taking you away from the shore. You're surviving, but you have no control over where you end up. Now, you thought this was a video about business, and it is. It's not a story about the ocean. But this is what it can feel like to be a small business owner in the very beginning of your business, or sometimes business owners get stuck in this undertow for years. It's what I call the owner trap. It's where a business owner wants to build a business to run, but ends up in a business that runs them. And here's the thing. The reason I'm telling you this is because it happens to a lot of business owners. And the numbers are actually sobering. 1 in 5 small businesses close within their first year. Now, let's go back to the ocean and imagine if 1 out of 5 people drown immediately upon entering the ocean. That would be staggering. Out of what's left of those businesses, half of them never reach their 5th year. And then out of what's left, 2 out of 3 never make it to year 10. Those numbers are really sobering because most people that go into business don't make it. Now, I don't say this to scare you, because the reason most of these businesses fail, it has nothing to do with their ability to work hard or their talent or their skill or even the economy. It has everything to do with the fact that there's this undertow that they didn't recognize. No one told them it was there, and they got caught up in it. If you're a business owner, I want you to imagine going back to day one, right? When you decided to step out on your own. Maybe you, like a lot of other businesses, worked for somebody, realized, I'm pretty good at this. I'm good at solving problems. I'm good with customers, and I'm getting asked to do some side work. I think I might go into business for myself. And you're full of energy and vision, and you start out with your clipboard, a phone, a vehicle, and a dream. And at first, it's pretty simple. Basically, you just have to find customers, deliver your service or your product, collect the payment, and then find another customer. It's that simple. So that's what you do. You go out, you find a customer, and you deliver your service or your product, you collect payment, and then you find another customer. And you just keep doing that, and that's about as simple as the business is. It's just a matter of repeating that process. But then reality hits, right? And here's the path that a lot of business owners go down. They start thinking, you know what? If I had better equipment, I could do 3 customers a day in the time it takes me to do 2 customers. I can make more money in less time. But in order to get this equipment, I've got to get a loan. So you're spending time working, and you're spending time researching equipment and trying to get approval for a loan. Meanwhile, you still have to invoice your customers, and there's bills piling up that you have to pay. And you have to pay those bills, otherwise there's no shot at getting that loan. There's also text messages, voicemail, email. You have to follow up at the end of every day because this is business and it needs to be taken care of. So you decide, you know what, I think I'm going to take the phone with me while I'm working. This way I can handle customers as they're calling in. But this slows you down. You're booking jobs, but you're slowed down because you're now having to answer the phone. So that's adding an hour or 2 to your day. But it's not letting anything fall through the cracks. At least you've got the sales that you're booking, and there's some larger jobs that, boy, if you could get that, this 162-unit apartment complex that's being built wants a bid from your company. And boy, if you got that loan approval would be a cinch. So you'll handle that on Saturday. Meanwhile, you still have to do all the marketing that's bringing in the everyday customers. You got to keep up with Facebook and Instagram, and your marketing agency is asking you for things at the end of the day. You've got to get that taken care of. And then you realize you're getting to customers' homes, trying to do the work, but you don't have the parts or the equipment that you need, and you got to run downtown to buy them. And that's adding more time to your day because you haven't been able to put an order in because you've been so busy. And in the back of your mind, you know you've got to keep up with the maintenance on the equipment, and it's long overdue. And boy, if you blow an engine, you're really going to be in trouble. And now you're getting in. It's dark when you get there. It's dark when you get back. And there's still this growing pile of paperwork on your desk that you meant to get to, that you somehow think maybe tomorrow will be a shorter day and I can get to it. But that never happens. And then the dreaded customer complaint because you didn't have quite the right parts. You thought you could make do and it didn't work. And now you got to go back out there, and that's adding even more time to your day for something that's not going to pay. This is how most owners get to the point where they are stretched way too thin and they realize something has to give because they're in the way of that company growing, whether they know it or not. And so the obvious solution here is, well, if I hire somebody, then they can take some of the workload off and they can be doing the work while I'm doing some other things. But what nobody tells you is that hiring somebody just added one more thing to your already way too full day. Because hiring requires writing a job description, posting it, screening applicants, interviewing people, doing background checks, handling onboard paperwork. You got to do all this while still running the company. And then once you do hire somebody, you have to train them. And training people, believe it or not, it slows down productivity because you're having to teach them what to do. You're having to watch what they do. You're having to go back over their work and help them get it right. You're slowing productivity way down. The irony of this is that the person with no time now has to find time to train somebody so that it'll free up more of their time. What ends up typically happening is that this new person that you've hired and you're trying to train, they don't feel supported and they end up quitting. And now you're back to needing to hire somebody again. But what's worse is everything has fallen way behind because you took the time to hire and train this person. And so now you're even further behind. So by the time you make your first hire, most owners are already doing the work of 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 people. There's the technical work of serving the customers. Every job has to be done. There's the admin and sales work, everything that happens in the office, every time the phone rings, every bit of follow-up, every bit of filing, all of that has to happen. That's an admin person, and then there are higher level tasks that need to happen. Pretty much everything else, accounts receivable, accounts payable, maintaining equipment, purchasing equipment, hiring people, training them, all the things that only the owner can do. And what this is that think of it like these are 3 strands braided into one rope, and the owner's that rope, so it looks like just one rope. And because you as the owner figured out how to fit it all in, because you basically had no choice, those 3 things got braided together, and it looks like one job, one rope. You're that rope. So when someone says, just hire someone to take over, there's a part of you that resists because it feels like if you pull one strand out, the whole thing's going to unravel. Owners want everyone to do it exactly the way they do it because that's how they figured out how it works. And so there's a fear of hiring someone to do the things that they did. But here's the mindset shift. Those 3 strands, they were never meant to stay braided. That's only what happened. But they really were 3 separate jobs. And so the mindset shift is that those 3 strands temporarily held together by one person because that person had no other option. You now have to stop seeing them as 3 strands and see them as 3 legs that are holding up a stool. And there's no way that that stool can stand without all 3 legs. Your company's no longer this company that is hanging in the balance on a rope. It's a company that is going to be built on a firm foundation. And that's the mindset shift that an owner has to make. And in a healthy company, the people doing each job are going to be doing it better than an owner ever could because it's their only job. They have the time to do it. They're not stressed out trying to fit it all in. And that's not really a criticism, that's the goal, right? And for a business owner, your job is not to do all the work. Your goal is not to build a company where you do all the work. Your goal is to build a company where you can lead and grow the people who do all the work. We're going to walk through this again, but in a little different way of seeing it. You start serving customers. You're focusing so much time serving customers that the marketing slips. So then you start pushing the marketing again, the customers return, but now the equipment's getting neglected. Eventually you end up having an equipment crisis. You can't do anything. You've got to focus on that. And so you're going down the road wobbly because this is not sustainable. It's too much weight on one person. Most owners don't quit because they fail. They quit because they're caught in this undertow. And that's what makes the solution I'm about to tell you so important, because once you can see the undertow, once you see this cycle, you'll know how to break it. The answer is building your team. The way out of the trap is to build this team and to build it in the right order. Step one, you're going to hire and train a technician. This person takes over everything that you do to deliver your service or your product to your customer. Every job, every visit, every customer, this person is delivering that work. You invest the time to train them right, and then you document the process. And you document the process for a couple reasons. Because the next technician you hire, you now have a documented process on how to train them. Or that documented process can be used by the current technician to train the next technician. Or once you hire an operations manager, they have a documented system for how to train technicians. And then you just repeat that process by hiring a customer service rep. And they are the person that becomes the hub of your office. They handle the marketing, the inside sales, the scheduling, the customer complaints, ordering supplies, following up with everybody. They're the glue that holds it all together. And they take a huge chunk of what was draining the owner every single day. And what's left for the owner? Well, the owner is now going to be the operations manager. The owner's acting in two roles. You're the owner, but you're also the operations manager. And you're handling the higher level decision making, the higher level strategizing, and the higher level tasks. Breaking free from the trap requires that mindset shift. Sometimes it's easier to think of it as you're going from being a plumber to being someone who is building a plumbing company that provides plumbing services. And this is the simple way of looking at it. Step one, hire a technician and provide training in delivering service to customers, routine equipment maintenance, and in-home add-on sales. Then you're going to hire a CSR and provide training in everything that happens in the office. Marketing, inside sales, learning the CRM, scheduling and dispatching, everything that needs to happen in that office. You train that CSR to do it exactly the way you were doing it, but even better, because now it's their only job. And then you're the owner and the operations manager, and you're handling all the higher level strategizing, higher level tasks, higher level decision making, so that you can grow your company. You are building a team, and in the process of building a team, you're building systems, and you're stepping out of the role of being a plumber to being a leader. And then the most important thing is to stay in your lane. I want to talk about an uncomfortable truth, because all of this sounds great, but here's the reality. Owners who are the busiest are the hardest ones to reach, because busy feels like success. If you're needed everywhere, your phone's ringing, people are lining up to use your service, then it feels like, hey, I'm doing everything right because look what's happening. But the reality is that a company where everything runs through the owner is not a healthy company. And eventually that owner can't keep up, and the company doesn't just slow down, it actually starts dying. And when that happens, there's going to be a lot of reasons that present themselves that are going to feel true, like the economy shifted, I couldn't find good help, or my marketing company didn't do a good job. All those things, they might play a role, but they're external. And they also happen to companies that don't fail. A company where the owner is the bottleneck is a company that's slowly dying. And if a company's slowly dying, no matter how hard that owner's working, it's not a healthy company. And no matter how well the owner can delegate tasks, one task that they're always going to be responsible for is the health of the company. That is the permanent responsibility of the owner. And whether it's just you as the owner, you're the one and only employee, or if you have 1,000 employees, you're still responsible for the health of the company. And if you've just started your business and it's just you and you're responsible for the health of your company and it's not healthy because you're the only employee and everything's happening through you, I want you to know that's okay. That's where every business starts, or most businesses start. You just have to accept that it's not healthy. And right now, it's up to you, and it always will be up to you to make that company healthy. Because if not, you're going to be like the majority of the businesses that we looked at earlier that fail. So let's say it's 2 years from now, you've broken out of the trap. Your customers are served without your direct involvement. Daily operations happen whether you show up or not. Nothing's piling up or falling through the cracks, and revenue is growing. So what's the path forward? The next thing you got to do is hire 2 outside sales reps to fuel the growth. And why do I say 2 instead of 1? Because studies have shown that if you hire just 1, she will do just enough to keep her job. But if you hire 2, they're going to compete against each other and produce 3 to 4 times the revenue. And if you're putting them on commission, you're going to be able to afford hiring more than 1. Their only job is bringing in new business while you focus on running the company. And as you scale, when you reach 4 to 6 technicians and maybe a second CSR, that's the time to bring in an operations manager, and they're going to own the operations. Everything that happens every day, they're in charge of it. They own the team, the equipment, the processes. They're executing everything exactly the way you would. That's their role. They run your day-to-day, and your role keeps evolving upward until you reach your ultimate goal, a company that can run without you. Then you can step back, or you can stay involved. But the difference is, it's your choice. And when it becomes your choice to work or not, you have a very healthy company. Now, remember that image from the beginning. The undertow, the weighted jacket, the piece of wood carrying you somewhere you didn't want to go. That's a rough way to be in business. And most owners get caught in that, and a lot of them stay there. But here's what I want you to know. When you're not drowning, the ocean is a completely different experience. It's fun, it's exhilarating, it's peaceful. It can be a lot of different things. And as long as you can recognize the undertow and stay away from it, you're going to have a great time. And that's the shift I want you to feel right now. Is if you have a business and it's hard and you're caught in that undertow and you feel trapped, there's hope. And now you know what that trap looks like, and you know how to avoid it. And now you know how to get out of it if you're in it. And that's no small thing, because a lot of owners spend years stuck in the undertow before they ever even realize they're trapped and that they need help getting out. And now that you've seen the way out, there's one more caveat. And I see this all too often, and I made this mistake when I was getting unstuck. Some of you are going to take everything that you learned today and go most of the way. You'll hire a technician, you'll bring on a CSR, things are going to get easier, and then you'll stop. Because easier feels like enough. And you're going to end up staying in this smaller version, but you're still trapped. You're still the guy holding the reins. You're still the one everything runs through. It's just less chaotic. It's a little more predictable. You're making better money. You have a little bit more freedom. And you know what? If you feel like you're making the kind of money you want to make, and you have the kind of freedom that you want to have, and you enjoy being in the middle of everything, and it's your choice to stay there, well, I respect that. That's fine. But as somebody who helps people exit and sell their business, I want you to understand what that choice costs you. A business that can't run without the owner is not just more difficult, more tiring, and less profitable. It's not worth what you think it is. And the day's going to come when you're going to want to sell it, and buyers are not going to want to buy it. Because buyers want to buy companies that run on systems, that run on teams, that run independently of the owner. And the sooner you start building that kind of business, the easier and higher value it's going to be when the day comes for you to sell it. And here is the amazing part, is that it's easier, more fun, and more profitable to run right now. So my challenge to you is to grow your business to the point where it doesn't need you. Look, that might scare you, but you've already proved you can start a business. You can grow it. You can find customers. You can do it. You've already proved that. So grow it to the point where it doesn't need you and see what that feels like. And if you get there and decide you want to stay in the middle of everything, you can always step back. shrink it back down. You've lost nothing by trying, but you'll lose everything by never finding out. Look, the path I've laid out for you is not complicated. And it's really not difficult. It's just a little scary. It takes courage to do this because there's a lot of unknowns. But I've seen it time and time again where business owners take this path, they reach the freedom, they reach the financial goals that they want to reach. It just took courage to do that. Now, if any of this resonated with you, I want to invite you to go deeper because here's what I know. Understanding the trap, that's one thing, but actually building your way out of it is another. And this month, I'm running a live webinar where we take everything I covered in this episode and get into the real work and the specific steps, the right sequence, and how to actually implement this inside your business. We're not talking theory, there's no fluff, just the exact roadmap. If you're a home service business owner and you're ready to stop being the rope and start building the foundation, this is definitely for you. Now, spots are limited because I want to be able to keep it small so that I can actually answer questions live. I'm going to leave the registration link in the description and just take 2 minutes right now, grab your spot because once it's full, it's full. All right, I'll see you there. And hey, keep building a business worth building that allows you to live a life worth living.